Funding now on Indiegogo, it's Shadowbinders, our second chance offer to get 2 hardcovers of our classic webcomic delivered to your door. Steampunk, fantasy, and romantic comedy from Clownfish Comics. Go to Indiegogo, check out the link in the description below. Now on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're gonna dip back in on this situation with Godzilla versus Kong and the media spinning the narrative that it is salty Snyderverse fans.
Right. No, I mean, of course,
it.
there are some people tanking it that are doing the hashtag release the Snyder Cut or whatever they're tagging it with, but they are the minority compared to most of the people leaving comments or reviews.
Yeah, and we're starting to get some legit reviews, I guess, legit reviews in too, and it is what it is. But you know, we talked about this the other day. We said as soon as 1 or 2 outlets decide that this movie is problematic, and they run with the narrative that it's the Snyderverse fans.
The toxic fans.
The toxic fans who are also Gamergaters. Yes, them. That everybody else is going to follow suit, and they're already starting. Cinema Blend has an article on it. Screen Rant has an article on it.
Right, and what's interesting is they do not mention the people review bombing it in the other way, the 10 out of 10s. Now, I think one of them does mention it in passing, but they're not like saying, hey, but there's this problem too. Because they're both giving it a 1 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 just to try to, review bomb it. It's still review bombing. They're trying to impact the way, the rating is. And they're artificially trying to inflate and then deflate the rating, both of which would be, not cool to do. And they don't mention that. I mean, especially when you look at the majority of people are voting at 10 out of 10 for, and they're like, I haven't seen it yet, but 10 out of 10. It's a problem.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this some more before we get into it. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 184,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. And here we go. Cinema Blend. Certain Justice League fans are dropping negative reviews for Godzilla vs. Kong. Again, we don't have any proof that these are actual Justice League fans or just people pretending to be.
But even if they are, there's such a small amount of the reviews that it's why are we making a big deal about it? If you're so against them, right? Because you think they're toxic fans and they shouldn't have a voice, why are you giving them one? Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't they be like, oh, I'm not covering that because that's what they want, if that was indeed the case?
Yeah,
it's a little weird. There's so much weirdness going on here. I don't even have words. It's very weird. Now, that doesn't mean that they aren't people that are just being toxic little dillweeds. It's possible. But that, again, doesn't represent the majority of people that will now be painted with this broad brush.
Yeah, and, we asked around, and especially after our first video talking about it, and people were like, I haven't heard of anyone, in our circles that's condoned this, and, I have no idea what's going on. It could be anti-Snyder people pretending to be Snyder people, but whatever it is, the media, they took it. They took the bait. They always do. Did.
Well, they might be behind it for all we know.
Yeah, they could be.
But they keep running these stories, and now one of them did mention the 10 out of 10s, but here I said, and 45% of those ratings are 10 out of 10 scores. Yeah, here's the thing. If you read a lot of the comments that are 10 out of 10s, they have a lot of people saying, well, I'm just voting it this way to offset the people doing the Snyder Cut ones. So there's a bunch of people admitting that they didn't even see it yet, or they're just doing it to undo the 10 out of 10s. Now, I point out that I always disregard the 10 out of 10s and the 1 out of 10s, and all of a sudden all these 9s, 8s, and stuff just start popping up, which is, how convenient is that?
It's a little weird, guys, but so they're making such a big deal out of it, but really statistically it doesn't make up a whole lot of the reviews.
No, the majority of the reviews, the two together, the 10s and the 1s make up 50% of the reviews.
Yeah, and even with the quote-unquote review bombing, it's still at 7.4.
Right. And review bombing, I'm sorry, if you're trying to change the score by hitting it with a bunch of reviews, that would account on the plus side too, because you're trying to artificially inflate it. So it's being review bombed 100%, but 45% of it are people, probably review bombing it to the good.
Again, these two things don't make a lot of sense. We're going to talk about, something else that might have, prompted this too.
Also, real quick, look, males make up the majority of our females. come on, gals. Be like, I'm a huge, Godzilla fan. Where are my women at?
So we even had James Gunn chime in on Twitter about this. He said, I see these articles attacking Snyder fans, but by far the vast majority of them yesterday were supportive. They just simultaneously also want to see more of Zack's DC films. I'm not sure it's fair to attack all of them for the action of a few.
Right. That's what I don't understand. I'm like, there might be some people out there that done some crappy things. I honestly don't know. But mostly it was people just really wanting to see his version of the film because he kept saying he had it. And most people I talked to, they were just like, I just really wanted to see it because I heard it was a better version. It wasn't because they were actively involved in anything. And I think that's the majority of people.
Now, there's, been some talk about, there's always this talk about civil wars, civil wars. And we're trying to figure out like what prompted this. And, there are rumors, again, these are rumors that Warner Brothers is reportedly trying to bury the Justice League, that there was a civil war going on over at Warner Brothers.
I don't understand why you'd spend $70 million to do it and then not advertise it at all.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Look, there are some things going on that are very weird about this movie. Now, the rumor is that they weren't happy that Zack Snyder went out on his own, basically, and started doing streams and interviews and stuff like that to promote the movie because Warner Brothers wasn't doing a whole lot to promote it.
They really weren't. I mean, they had a couple trailers they released, but for the most part, they really weren't doing a whole lot to promote it. Which I found very strange because they spent so much money on it. You'd think that they'd want to bring in as much as they could. Yeah.
So this, again, this kind of ties into, the debacle with Snyder and Geeks and Gamers, but he went to a lot of live streams. It wasn't just Geeks and Gamers. He went out to a lot of different YouTube channels.
And he gave a lot of the same disclaimers.
Same talking points. Yeah. But it was almost like he had his own, it felt like he had his own PR people working with him, but he had to do the lion's share of the promotion. Normally something like this is supposed to drive traffic to HBO Max. You'd think that they would be all over it, but they have to address the Ray Fisher situation then and all this other stuff.
Well, I think it's the fact that they had a plan they wanted to go with, and if it gets out there and gets really popular, people are going to want to see more of Zack Snyder's version, which is what happened. And we already had our plan. We don't want to change it now. We're going to tell you what you should like, and you're going to like it because we said so. Yeah, so we got this covered. I think they're pulling from some different YouTube videos. And I have heard this before, and this kind of goes along with what we're hearing at Lucasfilm, too, that there's kind of not a formal civil war, but that the Snyder Cut, the Snyderverse is not getting a lot of support. Well, it is interesting because how often do you see someone like Zack Snyder go on a bunch of people's YouTube channels? I mean, it's not usually something that they would do.
No, it's especially for a movie this size, it's kind of unprecedented. But I mean, compare the marketing for this to Wonder Woman 84. Now they're claiming Wonder Woman 84. It depends on who you ask. Some people said Wonder Woman 84 got more views than Justice League. Other people said Justice League got more views. But, they promoted the hell out of Wonder Woman 84. They did.
They did. They really did.
And it almost feels like since they know they've got J.J. Abrams coming up next to reboot the DCEU, it's almost like they're like, well, whatever. We're just going to step over this one.
Right, because he did such a fantastic job with Star Wars.
I know, right?
And then him and his kid, we're going to do what was it, Spider-Man? They were going to do comics for, and then it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
It petered out.
No pun intended.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Peter Parkered out.
Yeah, Peter Parkered out.
Todd McFarlane's Spawn 300 actually beat the J.J. Abrams Spider-Man #1.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's crazy.
But then people, Zack Snyder gave people what they wanted, and a lot of people, like I said, I have friends who aren't invested in any way, shape, or form any of the stuff that they're very normie. They aren't into any of the stuff. You guys think we're normie? They're normier than we are. And they're even like, oh, it was really good. I really liked it. It was so much better than the original. It made sense. And they really have no dog in the fight either way, but they would love to see more of that because it made sense and it was more exciting than what they had gotten. So people that are just like the normies out there are supporting it too. But so it doesn't make any sense that they're trying to sabotage that. I don't know. It's just all very weird. Yeah, because, they're pointing out that he's given more interviews in the past month than he had in the previous 5 years. He said he's been a one-man marketing and publicity machine, single-handedly drumming up buzz for his 4-hour movie, but a new report claims the studios are furious with the filmmaker for his presence, though, after they made a decision at a boardroom level not to promote the Snyder Cut. Which makes no sense to me. Yep, in the hopes that the talk would quiet down. We saw
and Sarnoff come out, who I believe she greenlit it. I'm looking at the timeline. I think she is the one that greenlit the Snyder Cut, and then she kind of walked it back and was like, yeah, we're not going to promote it, and the fans are toxic, and blah, 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 blah. So there's definitely something going on.
Yeah, there's something weird. I think they want to go a certain way with it, and they're afraid that fans now are going to want, to go Snyder's way, which is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
But back to the Godzilla thing. So you have that going on, and now these people, and we're talking like just a handful of people going and downvoting Godzilla, which I still don't understand because they're not even related, other than both being on HBO Max. But when you go actually look at the reviews that are the critic scores now, they're starting to come out that it's interesting to me. Like there's like ones here that are okay B, but you get 3 out of 5 and it's listed as fresh.
Yeah, this is a problem with Rotten Tomatoes in general. We've talked about it before. It kind of depends on whoever's reviewing that review at Rotten Tomatoes. They make the calls to whether or not they consider it a positive or a negative review. And some of them are clearly negative and they get counted as positive. But then sometimes you've had the opposite happen too.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing from people basically is that it's like half an hour of really good, action footage. And then like we saw with the first movie where it was just a lot of talking. And they said there was like 3 different storylines going on at the same time. And it's very confusing and very convoluted, which I'm hoping is not the case. I really want this to be good. Everybody's like, you just want to hate on things. No. Godzilla, I love Godzilla. Huge Godzilla fan. Do not want this to suck. I actually liked the last movie, King of the Monsters. Even I liked it much better than the first Godzilla. As other audience people did. And I know the critics were pissed about that one because they said there was too much action and not enough story. And in the first movie, the critics loved it more than the audience because they said, oh, there's human interest story. And all people wanted to see was monsters punch shit. Because that's what Godzilla is. It's, kaiju kicking action.
It should be Godzilla king and punching shit.
That's right. They just want to
shit puncher.
They want to see Godzilla kick ass, fire breath buildings and, do some damage. People don't really care about these little side stories about, eco-terrorism and all that crap. And it's interesting that you can see that in the scores, in the previous movies. Now this one, it sounds like we might be going back to what the critics liked the first time, where it's more people and less action. But they said when the action's there, it's incredibly good action. I'm hoping it's more action, but we'll see.
I like good action.
I do too. I love Godzilla. Oh my God. I just want to see this. And I want them to be friends. I don't want either one to win. I want them to be like, oh shit. We got to join forces to kick somebody else's ass, which is what I think is probably going to happen, but I'm not sure.
Spoiler, I think based on the toys, I'm thinking that's probably what's going to happen.
I hope so, because I love them both. And I want them both to succeed and be happy and, go arm in arm into the sunset and be best buddies. Guys, there's lots, they're just both awesome. I love them. If I had to pick one, though, Godzilla, obviously. Hands down.
Yeah. Well, Kong often dies in the end of his movies.
I mean, I don't want either one to die, but, if one has to go.
If one has to go, we have to vote one off of Skull Island.
I'm going to say Kong, but I want Godzilla to win. Maybe Mothra will come and back for no reason whatsoever, and
that does happen. There's just always another Mothra.
But Mothra will die, obviously. Then we know
Kenny.
If Mothra shows up, Mothra is going to die for sure. I mean, Mothra is probably not going to show up. I'm saying if anytime Mothra shows up, Mothra dies. It's a running joke.
Yeah, it's the Kenny of the kaiju Mothra.
Right, yeah, Kenny kaiju Mothra. But anyway, it's just, it's all over the place with this. There's some weirdness going on with the Snyder Cut. And then you have the small, really small group of people, going out there and with this release the Snyder Cut thing on these 1 out of 10s. But you have a vastly greater number of people giving it 10 out of 10s for no reason. And even saying they're doing it just to offset the other people, which is all review bombing. So the media is right. It is being review bombed.
Yeah.
They're just not breaking it down in a fair way.
Yeah, so we'll watch it. I mean, obviously...
we're going to watch it.
Well, Godzilla versus Kong, obviously.
We're waiting.
We're watching this situation, though, too. It does seem like there's something going on to kind of tank the Snyderverse. And I have to wonder if it doesn't have something to do with the reboot, the J.J. Abrams reboot.
Something's going on.
Something's up.
And there's a lot of fishiness, and I don't think it's as cut and dry as they're trying to make it out to be. Not saying that people wouldn't go and do this, but it's just the timing and the way the media jumped on it.
Yeah.
It's just really odd. And now they're trying to leverage it for other things for the Snyder, it's very strange.
Yeah, it's almost like these media outlets know when the chum is coming. I always talk about the chum bucket, that somebody will drop a story and then all the sharks, it's a feeding frenzy and they all start writing their own spin on it. It's almost like they knew the chum bucket was coming.
Well, what's interesting, some of these articles were written after we did our video, and then they were the ones, they were mentioning, oh yes, and the 10 out of 10s are 40-some%. Yeah, because we pointed that out in our video. I'm not saying to listen, but it seems awfully weird they're pointing out the exact same things I pointed out, you know what I mean? But not elaborating on them. I'm a little bummed though because we can't watch Godzilla until maybe Thursday night or Friday because Squid King is not going to be home, and I will not watch it without him. I will not, because he is the Godzilla king in our house.
Oh, he is a massive kaiju fan. Ultraman, Godzilla. I mean, it goes back to when he was little.
His collections, man. He's got like a massive collection.
Well, it started with Ultraman. We actually got the Ultraman box set from Amazon when they were doing the Pepsi points.
Yes.
When he was little, he was like 3 years old, and he started watching Ultraman, and then from Ultraman he got into Godzilla.
Well, what happened with Godzilla was I was at Goodwill before Christmas, and somebody had donated Godzilla figures to Goodwill, and I was like, they make figures of these things, so I bought them for like $1 a piece.
Yeah.
And that set him off. He gave Santa Claus, quote unquote, brought it to him, and after that,
Santa Claus totally brought it to him because Santa Claus kicks ass.
Santa Claus like kaiju. Mm-hmm. I would watch Godzilla and Santa Claus team up to kick ass. Anyway, I would totally watch that. That's a movie and a half. But that set him off.
Conquers the kaiju.
There you go. So that set him off for his Godzilla love for Godzilla, and then he wanted to watch all the movies. The kid could look at a toenail of a character or a scale, and he could tell you exactly which one it was, which version it was. I mean, he was like a walking encyclopedia on Godzilla.
Oh my God! The game we played the most when he was little was actually the Godzilla game for Wii. And he loved it. Mm-hmm. It had most of the kaiju in it. They made up some other ones too, but yeah.
I could hear them in my head, playing it.
Oh my God, you love that game. That was probably the best. He still says that's the best Godzilla game ever.
Stop motion videos with Play-Doh and Godzillas and all kinds of stuff. The kid just loved it. Still does. So I will wait for him, obviously. Yeah. But we're not going to get to see it for a couple days after. But I don't want it to suck. I mean, contrary to these people that come in the comments, you just want to hate things. Do not want to hate this. Want to love it. I just, I'm concerned. I have concerns.
Yeah. And, I don't know if this is going to be the last Monsterverse movie or not. And
I hope not.
There's a lot of drama around it. It probably will be. I've heard that they only had the rights for like 4 movies. So this will be the 4th one.
I want to see more, but I really very much would like to see Santa Claus conquer the kaiju.
I would too. Everybody would.
Who wouldn't want to see that?
That'd be awesome. He's like Ultraman with a beard.
That'd be funny. That'd be great.
All right, we gotta wrap it up?
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.